Kushi, just let me know if it is time to begin.
Yes, we are starting. Hello, everyone, and a very good afternoon to everyone present here. I'm your host, Khushi Mudgal, and I welcome you all to today's TechGig webinar on building a globally competitive tech workforce through GCCs. It's an absolute pleasure to have all of you join us today. To facilitate this session, folks, please join me in welcoming our distinguished speaker for today's session, Mr. Navaneet Mishra, Senior Vice President and Head at Hexagon's R&D Center, India. He leads Hexagon's R&D hub in India with over 2,200 engineers driving innovation in digital reality and autonomous technologies. This happens to be Hexagon's largest R&D hub globally. Prior to this, he was vice president at SAP Labs India, managing globalization services across 40 plus countries. An IIT Kanpur alumnus with an executive MBA from IIM, SDA Baukoni, and UCLA, he has also been a National Talent Search Scholar and Mathematics Olympiad rank holder. Passionate about enabling student communities and startups, he has spearheaded initiatives like India's first AI Community Center in Hyderabad, IT India competition across our state's tech institutes, and NASSCOM's Skills Initiative. He frequently shares his insights at industry forums, academic institutions, and through thought leadership contributions. It's such a pleasure having you, Navneet, here with me today.
Thank you, Kushi. Nice to be here.
And now about the session. In today's conversation, we will explore how global capability centers are becoming the engine room for innovation, engineering excellence, and deep tech talent, not just for India, but for the world. And this session will uncover why Indian engineers still lack platform level end-to-end product exposure and what structural changes are needed to bridge that gap. We'll also discuss how GCCs, academia, and startups can collaborate to build a stronger and industry-ready tech workforce and what it takes to nurture deep tech talent and not just delivery talent. By the end of this session, we aim to understand what truly defines a globally competitive workforce and how India can prepare millions of engineers to lead the next decade of innovation. I would like to notify you all that the session is scheduled for an hour. We'll hear valuable insights from our guest speaker, and in the final 15 minutes, we will open the floor for an interactive question and answer round. Please feel free to share questions anytime in the questionnaire window. And with that, let's get started. To begin with, we would like to take up some poll questions. So all of the attendees are requested to vote and let us know your views on the same. Beginning with the first poll question. So the first question is that how many years of experience do you have in the IT industry? And the options are 0 to 2 years, 3 to 6 years, 7 to 12 years, 13 to 20 years, or 20 plus years. You all can vote and let us know so that we are able to know you better. It will be up for around a minute. All right, so we have the maximum percentage for 13 to 20 years, 38.89%. And after that, we have 7 to 12 years, 22.22%. Now it's 42% for 13 to 20 years. So the maximum audience is around that demographic. All right, moving forward to the next one. So the next poll question is, which best describes your current role? Is it an individual contributor, a people manager or a team lead, senior leadership, director or a CXO, or a student or a fresher? Everyone can vote and you can let us know your views on this. All right, so for this, we have 47% for people manager or team lead, 31% for individual contributor, and 10 and 10% for senior leadership or a student. All right. So which makes us move forward to the next poll question, which is that the company you currently work for is primarily option A, a product or a platform company, option B, a software services or an IT services company, option C, a startup or an early stage tech firm, or option D, a global capability center. All right, so for this question, we have 55% for a software services or IT services company, and 25% for a product or a platform company, 15 for a GCC, and 5 for a startup. Which makes us move ahead to our last question for the session. Which is that, is your current organization a GCC setup? Yes or no? All of the attendees are also requested to vote, and you can also let us know your questions in the Q&A tab so that we will be taking them up towards the end of the webinar session. Okay, so for this one, we have 52% for a no and 47% for a yes. A very minute difference, but yeah. So which makes us wrap up the poll round. And now I would request you, Navaneet, to take over for the presentation.
Sure. Thank you, Pussy. So warm welcome to everyone. People, thanks for joining this short presentation. Try to finish it in 20-25 minutes, and then it will be good to have your questions. Because whatever I put in there is the first thoughts, first reactions when I heard these questions about. They are, in my view, in my experience, this is what I have experienced in the industry, and that's what I'm putting it down. Can they be comprehensive? Probably not. There are always facets which will miss out. but at least what you will see is something which I have seen and have connected to and have tried to fix it. Some places it has worked, etc., etc. Yeah. First thing is that, as Kosi told, the word is globally competitive tech force. And I'm just saying that competitive or not, but can we become a global equal tech force? And that's why the equal word is not there in my deck, because I think that the only way India can achieve its true potential if you are as good as anywhere else in the world. If not, if the play will still be around the salary and the cost here in India, we will never be able to truly, fully compete and reach to our potential. Yeah. So we have to be as good as anywhere else. And let's see what does it mean as a breakdown. So on this slide, I will tell you what are we missing. Yeah. And while the discussion about deep tech says that, currently that I'm associated with Hexagon, Hexagon is a deep tech company. Most of our solutions are really solving tough technological challenges in the real world. Yeah, so most advanced scanning, most advanced 3D visualization, most advanced, and we are a hardware and software company, so most advanced positioning systems, antennas, receivers as well, and plus lots and lots of software to simulate things, to see things, to visualize things. But when we say, what is holding us back, is one thing that comes to mind immediately is domain. On the same slide, after I have given you what are we missing on 4 or 5 things that I think that we are missing, I will also tell you why this is a problem. Sometimes you miss something. I might not have a platinum ring, but if I'm missing platinum ring, it's not affecting my performance or my possibilities or capabilities or what I can achieve or my potential. So we should talk about only those things which you are missing, which is possibly causing a dent. And we will come to that in a minute. So when we talk about domain, so let's assume you are building a solution for a fintech, you're building a solution for a mining, you are building a solution for, I don't know, building and construction, retail, I don't know, whatever. But do you know exactly where your piece, the thing that you are creating, where does it fit in? And it's not so easy. I mean, sometimes people are able to tell, okay, these are the kind of personalities, these are the personas who will be acting on my solution. But do you know what are the other personas are existing? What is the end-to-end value chain? Do you really understand that? And then really importantly, do you use the same language while speaking the words, the phrases that the customers use? And the customer could be anywhere. So this is very, very important that we go up on domain. When we say deep tech, yes, it is a lot of technology, a lot of math sometimes gets involved. All those things are understood. But at the end of the day, if we don't relate to a problem that we are solving, let's assume somebody is solving a problem, that if we put a blast in a mine site, how the pieces will crack and where they will fall, so that when I go and collecting ores in the second round, I go to the most efficient ore site there. Yes, it's a complex question to solve, understood. There is a lot of technology that will be used here, understood. Lots of maths will be understood, which will be difficult for some of us to immediately code on those lines. But what is more important than these is that, do you understand the language? When somebody is describing a mine, when they use the word haulage, do you understand what it is related to? Why it is so critical for them? So everything, and what is the most critical thing in a mine? Are the drilling machines most critical, or are the fleets which are moving the ores are most critical? So if you have a deeper understanding of this, that is when you realize that you can come up with a very sustainable future. That is when you realize that you are becoming equal. And please understand this, that it's a journey. It's not that on day one we will be equal to the workforce everywhere else in the world. That will never be the case. Everybody had different cultural background, different ramp up things that have happened. typically, if you see a Western education system, and corporate is a Western construct, so you see that uh, that after again, I have been always in India, so I really don't have the details. But what I understand when I talk to folks in Europe is that there are a lot of vocational things which starts happening after high school. So not a lot of people go through a formal undergrad or formal master's degree, etc., etc. A lot of people then take these vocational trainings and are, yeah, I mean, as NVIDIA CEO says, uh, either you are an AI person or you are a plumber, only then you make money. Nobody else is making money. So the idea is that vocational training indeed are good and generate something. But whatever, who are not doing this, people in Western countries, when they go for I don't know, computer science or any other engineering degree, they are immersing themselves in that. Yeah. For us in India, it's a mass business. We produce 3 million engineers. Oh, sorry, 1.5 million engineers a year, right? So that's a huge number that we are producing. Does each one of them want it to be always an engineer? Is it their passion? Are they bringing passion and expertise to it? Probably not. So when we are competing, when we talk about globally competitive workforce or a global tech workforce, we are talking about people who were, when compared in Western countries, people who have done engineering were passionate about doing engineering. So that is how they have come up there. So when you compete, when you are trying to be equal to them, remember that they have not done it because of, I don't know, a basic job security or a basic, way of living, because everybody around was engineer, so they became engineer. No, it was because there is a passion. And when you are competing with somebody with passion, remember that you will need to bring up your A game to the table. Yeah. And that, the first one in that picture is domain. The second one, what we're talking about is big picture. Now, big picture is an evolving definition. You people would have heard this 100 times before this meeting that we are having now as well. But big picture is now no more about what your solution or your solution set is doing at customers. You have to know which are the other solutions customers use in the same thing. Let's assume you are giving them a solution for, I don't know, advanced plant optimization, some kind of, you're saying that, okay, I will give you a predictive maintenance of when your boiler needs maintenance so that it doesn't actually break down based on various sensors data that I will collect over last 3 months. I will be able to tell you, okay, this is the time to go ideally for maintenance. Otherwise, there could be major accidents happening. Wonderful. But that is your solution. It's not good enough to know that. You should know what are the tools, for example, they're going to procure when something is not going to work or some replacements are needed. You have to also know probably how they are taking the shifts attendance, how they are talking about one a shift A ends and shift B begins. How are they doing the handover in that plan? That what kind of problems need to the next set of people to act on? So we have to, these days, we don't only have to know what our piece of solution is doing, we have to know what customer has as a suite of solutions, not only from your stable, but from different other companies. So what all solutions they're using. So then, and then you start understanding more, then you are actually able to help him. And again, very clearly these days, what does the competition look like? Because sometimes there will be products in the same place where your competitor is also there. It's like movie making. Not one setup, not one camera guy, not one software solution is trying to create a VFX. There are a multitude of solutions and they together are creating a fine, nice product. So, and that is what we are talking about, that we have to know what all customer is using, including the ones what our competition is offering. Competition is offering, but both probably competition is not there where you are present in a customer side. They're present everywhere else, anywhere else. But what is the value that they are bringing to the table? Why that was bought? What are the features that they are giving? So we, every one of us, please, and not really limited to goals and roles definition. So don't get boundary around you. Yes, I'm a product owner. I'm a product manager. I'm a scrum master. I'm a developer. I'm an architect. I'm a pre-sales. I'm a technical sales guy. I'm a salesperson. No, irrespective of who you are, You have to know these big pictures. You have to understand this. For some, based on their roles, it might be easier. For some, it will be difficult, but this is today's expectations. And this is available. And these are the kind of people whom you're dealing with. Because, or when we talk about globally competitive workforce, these are your competition, people who know the domain and who have this big picture as stated here. You're also competing with people who are multi-skilled. When you go and talk to someone who is a senior tech lead or a project lead in a European product firm or something, they are not bringing necessarily their pre-sales person there or their salesperson there. They are not bringing the HR onto the table. And in single person, you see all these skills available. The person has tech knowledge. The person knows cultural sensitivity, understands what does it mean if it is being said by somebody in Europe versus what is being meant by somebody saying it in US versus somebody saying it in China versus somebody saying it in India. So the same word and same phrases, what are the possible kind of meaning? What does quality mean? What does risk mean? Yeah. If you see the definition of risk or inherent understanding of risk, I'm not talking definition, inherent understanding of risk is so different between a country like India versus say a country in Europe, in mainland Europe. It's a huge difference. And we need that because, and again, you will be, the first reaction that comes is, okay, again, the question was about deep tech and why are we talking about skills? You will be getting those, see, our tech ramp up is already very good. The way, the speed at which India not only learns, but relearn something is amazing. No place in the world can beat India when we are upskilling or reskilling people, nowhere in the world. What we are missing is that when we go for a conversation, we are doing only a part of it. We are starting becoming dependent on various people together to give a comprehensive picture. And that possibility, and that competition is so hot that you will fail if you are not having one person who has all these skills together. And it can be any one of us in any department or division. This is a bit tricky, but let's understand this. What does hiring right mean? So first one is obvious that, you should hire. I have seen, even in my company at the moment, that people are directly, fully dependent on the performance, on what were you doing? Can you describe your the previous project? What knowledge you bring to the table? Hey, can you solve this particular problem in a certain way? Can you write an algorithm which is optimized for blah, blah, blah? That is fine. But remember, in a country like India, we are very team focused. A team delivers. Yeah, it's not about an individual. So we will have to slowly move towards hiring the right mix in a team. So even if, let's assume you have to hire a team of 10, you call it Scrum team, whatever it is. When you're hiring a 10, you please ensure that not only that they are diverse, that they bring diverse perspective on this, but also that they have different way of approaching the problem. You have to find out, okay, this person might not be great at, say, coding these lines or knowing all the syntax, but he is the one who can create the most interesting prompts to get something out. Okay, this person is not probably doing this, but he had worked in that domain, that industry, and he can bring that perspective of quality which we need here. So those are the things which we are missing at the moment, that when we are hiring, when our TA team goes to hire, they consolidate it based on skill sets. They say, okay, we are hiring 7 Java programmers, 2 for this team, 1 for this team, 1 for that team. But they're not focusing on a team, how that team is shaping up. For a given team of 10, what are the different skills that are coming up? And this is becoming a problem. This is becoming a big problem, not only in India, but globally, because what we are seeing, the phenomenon is that we have extremely good technology people, but we don't have people sometimes who have a business sense. And that is where corporates are losing, that they invest 1.5 years, 2 years, spend 20, 30, $50 million behind one product, and then the product doesn't work because the right mix of people were not in the team. People didn't challenge things. So that is what is the issue. And the last one, again, last one from that size slide out for having 4 or 5 points is that how are you recalled? Please understand that irrespective of how good a system is and how detailed you capture your skills and how your organization maintains skill matrix and competencies and how proficient you are in various things. And those are extremely good things. But when the top bosses decide, they sometimes are not necessarily looking at the data because one, data is not that pervasive at the moment. And second is that they're going by the recall value. So the question to you is, to all of us is that are we being recalled when we are not present in a meeting, when a meeting is happening in our absence, when somebody is trying to decide things, are we getting recalled as a problem solver? And if yes, are we being recalled as a problem solver at a global level? Or is it that, yeah, this guy is good, he can solve problems without giving us headaches, without calling for 10 different meetings, he will try to manage people and technology and everything together, but can this person do it at global level? And again, he is just a phrase when I mean both he and she. The idea is that this is what is identification. Skill set is one thing, but trying to solve a problem where you necessarily face things which you have not faced before, but you then use your different experience and cultural sensitivity and your communication skills to bring about a closure. Dealing with a program, dealing with the technology is still easier than dealing with people. And most of the times this problem solving needs a combination of both technology and people. So are you being recalled like that? Yeah. Why is it a problem? Yeah, because if you don't know domain, trust me, your organization will think 3 times before exposing it to a customer. And remember, irrespective of what role do we play, whether we are a natural salesperson where we have to be in front of customers, or whether we are a developer, which is 7 layers moved away from customers, we all must be interacting with customers. That's when you know the real stuff. And if you deal with customers well, your organization always remembers because that's the source of revenue for the whole organization, right? So if you lack domain, people will be very uncomfortable, very jittery to give you customer exposure. If you don't know the big picture, if you can only do is that read a spec and convert it to a program, then people will not naturally believe that you will be able to think of differentiators. Because if you are not deep inside something, not only domain, but also the big picture, how the things are interconnected, how different solutions are working, you will not be able to come up with something. Okay, what is the core issue here? Which system to system, what kind of data is passing on, and what could be a differentiating offer? So to do this, we must need the big picture. Yeah. If you're not muchly skilled, you will nowhere be that single person to face a global stakeholder, face any global person. Yes, it's good that if 3 of you, somebody communicates, somebody has culture sensitivity, somebody had technology, you 3 of you together go and meet someone, but at times that luxury will not be available. If you are hiring right, if you're hiring a right mix of people where questioning is, or if an idea is proposed, challenging it is not considered rude or something, that is more like an organization culture. If that's okay to say, hey, you are saying that this is how we should proceed, this screen should be the first screen, this is how the workflow should be, this is how this thing, these are the kind of persona, this is how it should be configurable. And somebody says, no, but you know what, this is not really needed. If we skip this will save us that much cost. And again, this will be 80-20 rule, only 80% of the customers will be using it, 20% of the customer will be using it, others will never have a look at it, so we really go there. So these kind of questions should happen and will happen if you have hired a right mix in a given team. So if you are having that team, then the questions happen, then the discussions takes place, and then outcome is really sustainable. But if you have one guy has suggested, everybody else has followed, then outcome might not be as sustainable. And this goes with everyone in every situation. Yeah. And again, if you are not a problem solver, if you are not being identified as a problem solver, highly likely, and again, I'm telling it from experience, highly likely that you and your team will not get the first chance to work on this. So the initial product will be conceptualized somewhere else in another country. Initial architecture will be done somewhere else in another country. Once they have kind of settled it, broadly, then they will say, okay, now you can fill those pieces, fill those boxes. Yeah. And that is what Khusi's original question is, how do we become a globally competitive tech force? What is missing? What are the things that we should do? And that is the problem here, that if I'm not identified as a global scale problem solver, then what we will receive in India as work will not be at that level. And if you see all of this, what they're indicating very clearly is that the decision making is not happening here. Decision making is happening somewhere else. And that is happening somewhere else because we were not identified. We had not combined all these five. We could not project ourselves as a natural domain person, understanding the big picture of the whole workflow. We were not having single or multi-skilled people. We had not the identity of problem-solving person. So if we are missing those things, decision-making will not come to us. And if the decision-making doesn't come to us, then the likelihood of our getting the starting of the pie, being the, the designer of the whole thing, not only the solution or tech solution of it, but designer of the where the teams will sit, how the sales will happen, how we will set up the business development team, how the initial stages will look like, what kind of systems we will make. So all those things will be somehow kind of missed out. So this slide just try to tell you that what are we missing? Why is it a problem? Now, I'll move on. And please, as Kosi said, please keep submitting your questions. We'll be more than happy to try to answer them. How do I, sorry, I just water break.
Yeah, sure. No. We are already having a lot of questions from the audience. Meanwhile, you can also brief them so that they'll have more to join.
Sure. How to fix it internally? Now, this slide is a bit tricky because I have answered this from the organization perspective. And yeah, I'm happy to note that many of you are, if I remember it right, above 13 years experience, right? The large part of it. 20 is 42%, and again, 20 plus is also some percent. So more than half the crowd is experienced set of people. So yeah, if it is in your ambit to influence this directly, please, you can go ahead. If you're already doing this, then great. Awareness, yeah. It's not, I mean, at least till 3 years back, it was not there in many organizations. Domain skill was not considered important. Knowing about market and competition was like the 6th or 7th important thing. Multi-skilling was not being discussed. Customer focus was there, but had different definitions for different set of people. Yeah. And this has to change. We have to run a very, very pervasive campaign. We have to kind of make it absolutely deep, and it should be on the top agenda. GCC or not GCC, if you really want to go up in the value chain, you have to make these things and define it. It will be painful. It will be painful to define this, but each one of this, some of them will be easy, like domain skill, but some of them like customer focus. What does it mean for a fresh graduate who has just become a developer? It will take time, but it is possible to do that. Yeah. And what I'm saying is that, and again, it is needed for the survival of both employees and the company. And when I say survive, I mean in the sense of treadmill sense, right? So you run to still be in the same place. So we have to, all of us have to run, even to just to ensure that with respect to competition, with respect to the rest of the world, we are still able to maintain. And I'm also saying is that please gamify it if you think that will be working, or if you think that in certain cases, no, a structured ramp up is what is needed, then go ahead for this. But this is something which has to be done. And again, yeah, only those things improve which gets measured, right? So whatever the topics that you have done the campaign on, you have to measure them, and you have to measure during the year and also end of the year. And again, you have to define skills and proficiencies. And I have seen, and again, not only I have seen, I have experienced myself that typically tech organizations are only talking about tech skills, and they only talk about those proficiencies. How good you are a C++, how good you are in your OOPS concept, how good you are in your AI prompting, how good you are in using agentic AI, and things like that. But it has to change. That is one part of your repertoire. There's one part of you what will make you successful. I mean, if you were to ask me that And somebody can say that, okay, Navaneet, it's a reason, your career looks like a reasonable success since last 12 years, you're heading a GCC setup. So how did it come about? And I can tell you honestly that while getting a job is maths and physics and science and programming and things like that, logical, rational brain. So I can say that from my father's side. But the growth in career, managing people, managing responsibilities, making the team grow, getting the budgets approved, convincing the global stakeholders to give us the juiciest of projects, that comes from my mother's side. That is the EQ completely. That has nothing to do with my mathematical side or Excel kind of a brain. This is the storyline that works, that settles down with people. The why, if I know when to ask and what to ask and how to get an approval, touch wood, that is coming not from IQ side of it. So we must measure those proficiencies. We must have those skills in the repertoire and manage and measure them on a regular basis, and let employees know that, okay, yes, you are already, I don't know, a principal software lead in this team, but you know what? There are 3 behavioral skills also there, and those behavioral skills, you should have been at 3 out of 5, but you are only at 2 out of 5. So please do work on them before we are looking for the next promotions. So if we don't insist on those in a structured manner, we'll be losing out. Events. It's tricky. On one hand, if you see in the previous page, we talked about that how we should have an open mind. We should be able to think of solutions on our own. But if you never practice it, if you don't create events where these things get triggered, then it is unfair to expect these kind of deliverables from the same employees in a regular day-to-day job. So please do create things like hackathon, so that people develop those independent thinking. People develop a sense of what the overall solution, end-to-end solution looks like. Host customer once or twice a year for different teams, for different purposes, whatever it is. It's for customer would love to come to your place because they get to learn so many things and they get to express their anguish as well. At the same time, you will know how your software is getting used by them, and make your talent acquisition team, the TA short form, understand the team diversity and do a hiring campaign with focus on overall team. So yeah, I know it's tricky. It's not the way it is structured. Yeah. In India, we were a volume hirers. Luckily, for last few months, we are not. Yeah. So the hiring is slowed down, trickled down. But this is the time when TA teams started behaving differently and started thinking of something as a team, and then putting the pieces together rather than just trying to find out, okay, this is senior developer Java, and how do I find it? Yeah. Equity. This is of late, last 2 years, I would say I see a change. Earlier, it was a big issue. We have to, in terms of salaries, in terms of promotions, in terms of importance, in terms of exposure to the top leadership, we have to treat individual contributors and managers absolutely similar. They are doing what they are good at. They are both equally needed for any success. So we must create that equity and make individual contributors speak at internal and external forums. We cannot say on the previous slide that yes, our tech folks should also be able to address gathering and talk about it to certain leadership or certain customers, but at the same time, don't give them opportunities in advance. You have to build it up slowly. You have to ensure that people are able to express themselves. I know listening is a far more important skill than speaking. And yes, based on listening, you grow yourself understood. At the same time, the way today's world is functioning is that we must be adapted speaking as well. And only when we are that, then Khusi's problem statement, globally competitive workforce gets met. Because again, please do remember that people in Western Hemisphere are doing engineering because they were passionate about it, not because it was the most done thing in the country. No, that's the core difference. And the last one, obviously we have to reward the right behavior with promotions and raises. And please do this rewards, please do this recognitions in a public manner. I know you can't discuss raises in a public manner, but at least promotions, at least giving the right responsibilities, giving them the next big thing. Make sure that people see value in it. If the only value that your team members are seeing is that, okay, this guy did one more certification in one more technology, and now he is getting that promotion, then they will also do the same thing. And just going deeper in one single vertical, in one single stack, will not give you the results that we are looking for. We will need people who can hold their fort with confidence. Some of the things which we could not discuss in the slide one is also related to, for example, can you discuss weather? Now, it's a very strange sentence, but the idea is that if there was a team dinner happening, your global CEO was visiting the country, he was also around, could you strike a conversation with him just for 5 to 7 minutes? And I'm not asking anyone to discuss technology or product or solution or economy. You might as well be discussing movie Dhurandhar or Avatar, whatever you want to discuss. But can you hold your fort for 5 minutes? Can you have a meaningful conversation? Will he remember, hey, I had a nice evening. There were some good chats happening around. Can that happen? Everything is, each one of these skills come together before a good, solid, independent chunk of work comes to you and the growth of India Center happens. Decision making starts happening here. And decision making not only with respect to technology, but decision making with respect to budgeting, with respect to market, with respect to penetration, with respect to the detailed plan of how the product or solutions or services will be rolled out. How to fix it externally. So sometimes we think that we have all the solutions internally. No, it is almost, how do I say it? It's egoistic to say that everything we can solve internally. We cannot. We need to depend. We need to depend on people. We need to depend on academia. We need to depend on startups. And not only need to, but it's also smart to do that. Yeah. And we have to start influencing. We have to start influencing curriculum at university. You can't do this at 10 different universities and 10 different courses. No, but there will be few with whom you would have signed an MOU, etc. Go to those places, say that you would like to see what is being taught in third and fourth year of certain engineering branches, and say that, hey, can't you include this because world has moved in this direction? Can you introduce this tool or this method? I was shocked to find out just 4 years back, when we were visiting colleges, nothing in cloud, very surprisingly, because the moment they walk out of the doors or start working for a company, it will be mostly a cloud environment. Okay, they never heard about, the agile practices, what Scrum is and what a sprint review is. So they had no clue, and the curriculum has remained the same probably, I don't know for how many years. So influence that. This will help you, and obviously this will help the college and the students there as well. There's something good to do. And then it's also not only contributing to society, but also letting it reach back to you as well. Scaled internship, what do we mean by that? Yeah, interns are happening these days. Many companies are doing this. This has also become some kind of a mandate as per the legal reasons that we need to, for a profit-making company, that 2.5% of our workforce should be from apprentices, and we should be working with them and try to pay them some money. It's also held by the government, by the way. So, but what does internship does is that you can pick up individuals, they can be assigned to a project, but you should also try, can you give a group internship to a college? So can you say that, okay, from this batch I will need 4 people, and they, along with a named professor, will be working for us in a project. We will assign 2 mentors from our company, because we have done this, and we have this fantastic results that have come out at a fraction of a cost of what we would have taken to do it otherwise at home. And these were also then subsequently patented. So it is possible to do that. So the more you engage, the more avenues will come to you, the more thoughts will come. And these are so very useful tools at the time when the headcount is frozen, when you still need to try out new POCs, new technologies, and you don't have internal resources. They are all busy doing something. So please think about these things as well. And if you want to kind of go one step further, then you can set up your lab set based on the technologies that you have. So yes, I understand that if somebody is a pure play service company, it will be tricky to do a labs at universities. But if you have some software packages, something as a solution, a repeatable solution, or if you're a product, software, hardware product company, then obviously it's much easier for you. Then set up a lab there. Your story will be better understood. People will know what they are in for if they want to apply to your company and take up a job. And then lastly, obviously, we must try to work with startups. Startups are fantastic. They have two things fundamentally going different from them from a typical corporate, is that they are very, very agile, because that is how they can survive in this. They have to be very quick in interpreting, understanding, acting, and trying it out. So that is one thing. And the second thing is that they have based on the different topics, different industries, they might be ahead of you in that curve. So you can also learn from them and try to together either co-innovate, and not only sometimes stop at co-innovate, but also go to market as well, to take some solution from their side, some from your side, and together reach out to market and find out. And yes, if you want to engage with them, please do think about giving a real world problem, real challenges, so that, if you want to filter that, okay, these are the 3 or 4 whom we can work with, probably you make it open, go through our incubator like THub, etc., in Hyderabad, or many, there are many across the countries, breadth and depth. So you find someone and then find out which are the best ones to work with, and then work together with them, either to create a joint intellectual property or to go jointly to the market, or if the things go ahead and if the startup is interested, then also investing, or in them and being a part of their journey as well. So this is, again, I'm not saying these are exhaustive, but I'm saying it, but each of these are valid, and this still covers, I don't know, 75, 80% of what the problem statement was. So these are the things that if we do, some of these things you can't imagine. This, for example, working with startups for an R&D setup, for a development community, is just not possible. It's just not happening in say, Europe, because that is not the mindset that is there. So if somebody is working with a startup, it's only from an M&A perspective and not from anything else. So there are things which naturally India is at an advantage. Yes, there are a few things which we are not naturally at an advantage, while we are extremely flexible, but sometimes we miss the bigger picture. So there are pros and cons. The idea is retain what is best with us already, like our English speaking skills, like our flexibility to run, learn, and spend hours, and at the same time bring this sense of quality from Western different definitions, best the sense of clear communication from Western, and then obviously you will be not only competitive, but we will be winning all these competitions. So with that, I come to an end. I will stop sharing, and I hope we can answer some questions.
Yes, and those were some amazing insights, Navneet. You have really shared such forward-looking perspectives on how India can actually build a globally competitive tech workforce, and why platform-level exposure also matters, and also how GCCs are reshaping the way that engineering talent is built, empowered, and deployed at global scale. So those were some really amazing insights that all of our attendees might be looking forward to. And now, as we have some excellent questions from the audience, we'll take them, and you can also find them in the question panel for your reference.
Sure.
We'll begin with the first one, which is Cable has asked that what practical steps can GCCs take to give engineers ownership across design, architecture, deployment, and operations?
Yeah, so very clearly, I mean, these things will come based on the joint discussion with your headquarters. And only way they will be giving it to you is that if you have proven, so it's a bit of tricky. If you have not proven, how do you get it? And if you don't get it, how will you prove yourself? So the idea will be get immersed with one of the global existing team and start contributing on your own without asking, without charging them anything. And then you will see that finally they will like the output from you, make you part of it, and then they will start involving you in architecture, not to start with design, but probably architecture, and then subsequently also for deployment. So it is. I have done this myself in my career at SAP, that I started providing teams at different locations just on my own, saying that, hey, is this something which is useful for you? Here is a small video in which how you can share it with customers, how to use this particular solutions. And then they say, hey, this is interesting. Would you like to also then come to our customer meeting? So that is how you start opening the doors, and then you start convincing them. So I would say that.
Right, and that's an absolute answer that you might be looking forward to. All right, which makes us move forward to the next question, which is, Vansh is asking that which deep tech capabilities should GCCs prioritize over the next 3 to 5 years to stay globally competitive?
Yeah. Again, once I'd say that yes, tech for tech is understood, but it is so much about tech for business. I would say that for a GCCs, they should still prioritize domain ramp up. They should still prioritize communication skill and cultural sensitivity. The technology will come and will follow. So uh, it is fully allowed now for a company and its resources to use the existing AI tools to get the code fragments and integrate them at the speed that they want with the technology that they want. So all those will remain open. What will still be missing is the domain and etc. All this knowledge. So my suggestion will be, even if you want to go to deep tech, please do understand what business you are in and what competitors do you have.
That's an absolute insight for that as well. And that makes us move forward to the next question that is asked by Shailja. She's asking that can startups act as innovation partners for GCCs, and how can this collaboration be structured effectively?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So we have done this already. So what we did, Sailaja, is that we reached out to our divisional or BU CTOs globally and asked them to give a very well-defined statement. We kind of then did a partnership with T-Hub here, and T-Hub can be done by this can be done by any other incubator as well. And then they published our problems on their portal, and more than uh, more than 240 startups applied for this, and then we read their kind of readouts. We shortlisted some of them, and then for each problem statement, we finally had 4 of the startups competing against this. So that's how we structured our collaboration. And for with some of them, we are already jointly going to the market and making money for both of us. So this was a very good structured example of doing this. So I would say that be associated. If you're a startup, be associated strongly with one or the other incubator. And if you're a corporate, please do reach out to incubator to publish your problem statements.
Right. And that's actually something that is actually going to go a long way moving ahead. All right, which makes us transition to our next question, which is by Aniket. He's asking that what learning models, rotations, internal startups, shadowing global teams have proven effective in building system thinkers?
Yeah, interesting question. So I would say that the most that has, I mean, the easiest one is internal. I would not use the word startup, but I would say internal fellowship program. So where you get associated for a given problem statement for 2 to 3 months. It need not be. It is not part of your daily work, but you kind of getting half a Friday off to work on some other challenging assignment which has been published officially. So please do encourage your organization to set that up, and that has been the fastest learning model, fast for developing an overall thinking, because the moment you move out from your day-to-day product, in your day-to-day product, there is this whole setup previously done. Things are connected, the data set is available, you can test it very comfortably. But the moment you move out of this, then you realize that whole ecosystem around that code piece is missing. And that is when you develop your system thinking process. So I would say in internal fellowship programs, most effective. Shadowing global teams is the second one. And rotation, yeah, it would have worked, but I have seen managers themselves blocking rotations a lot. So there are very few companies which are able to effectively implement rotations where you actually leave one team and move to something different for a visible period of time. So yeah, in that sequence, I would say to go ahead.
Right, definitely. And moving forward with the next question, which is by Parth, he's asking that how can GCC leadership balance short-term delivery KPIs with long-term deep tech capability building?
Okay, let's be honest to ourselves, Parth. Nobody will ever give you time or empty loads or period of no work so that you can build deep tech capability. This will have to be done through clever mechanisms like hackathons, like internal fellowship, like some hackathons are 24, 48 hours, but some are 3 months long as well. So then you decide, you find out a team, this team work on the weekends and develop something. So you will have to find ways to develop this deep tech capability. That is what we did at our center. And yeah, we were A typical, I would say, an executor center 12 years back, 10 years back. And now we have, I don't know, at least 5 vice president, more than 20 executive directors, 20, 30 directors. So we grew from there to here because we understood that this deep tech building has to be done despite the KPIs pressure. In addition to the KPIs pressure, nobody will give us free time. We have to find mechanisms to develop those skills.
Very rightly mentioned, Navneet. So, which makes us move ahead with the last question for the session, which is asked by Ria. She's asking that what mindset shift is most crucial for Indian engineers aiming to compete on a global stage?
Mindset shift is that to survive in the technology business, you need to know the business. So just knowing the technology will not work, Ria. So fundamentally, what we have to start thinking different is, how does this solution make money? Why will somebody pay money for this solution that we are building? How will they pay it? Whom will they pay it? What is the differential value that we are bringing? So the moment Indian engineers bring that mindset, because already they are very, very flexible. They learn among the fastest. They are ready to be challenged on various things. They don't get offended very easily. So all those things are very, very strong criteria to make them successful. The moment we start mixing sense of business in this, we will truly be wonderful. So that will be the right way to compete on a global stage, that we start understanding the business.
Right, Navneet, and that's an absolute answer to wrap this up. So, would you also like to share any ending notes for all of our attendees watching the session?
Yeah. Again, if you see, I'll try to give an example of one of my very visible failures, because as we all know, that failures teach much better than the successes at times. So I had understood initially. I had zero understanding of customer. I had no customer empathy. I had none. I was thinking, why can't they understand this? They should just read the documentation, understand how to configure it, set it right, go live. Everything will be fine. Why are they asking the silly questions, raising tickets, making our life miserable? Why can't they be more? So this was the mindset. And then suddenly one day somebody said, man, do you know that you are earning, your family is eating bread because customer is paying us money? And then the eyes opened up. I realized that no, customers are really too important. So that was stage one. Stage two, I started really understanding them, talking to them. And then time came when it was very natural for me to immediately understand what customers are asking for, how best to give a solution, how to find ways to do something about them. That happened. And in this, sometimes when you become confident, there is a chance, a little likelihood that you become overconfident as well. So I was meeting one public sector customer in India. Yeah. Public sector are rich entities. They have, and this all of us know this company, but I will not name for this out for discussion powers. But yeah, they are a multi-thousands crores making, spending money, making money kind of a public sector company in India. And I had made a presentation that why I was working for SAP at that point in time, and I made a solid presentation why they should go with SAP and all that stuff. Then I said, you know what, that this is what you will be able to achieve if you do this and this and this, and then you will save this much of money or something like that. I told that. Again, I can't disclose further details. And then they said, internally, they started talking to them among themselves, and they said that effectively what they implied is, Navneet, what you're talking about, the kind of savings, that much we give as subsidy every month, forget about every year. So it was not important for them at all. So what your mind tells you, it will lull you into a set pattern. It will tell you that, okay, every customer is trying to make money, every customer is trying to save money. No, there could be customers which are only there for public good. And for them, it's not important, even if it is few hundred crores goes up and down. So we have to every time be very, very cautious and free with the previous backlog of our head, that what this particular customer wants and why they want it. And yes, and I was a successful R&D person at that time. Yeah, It was after my multiple years of experience at SAP when I got the shock, and then I realized, oh no, if I'm not conscious again about the next customer very, very clearly, I'll miss out on something. And so that is something which I can repeat, irrespective of number of years that you have spent, irrespective of how much success you have seen with customers. When you meet the next one, be open-eyed, be listening, and understand them very deeply. Empathy is important, but sharpening the empathy on a continuous basis is really important. That was
Right.
one angle. Thank you.
And that's really an example that will have a lasting impact on everyone watching this and hearing to this. So a lot of questions, but all of them answered. And with this great presentation that you've shared, it has given us plenty to reflect on, not only the insights, but also the ongoing conversation around how India can strengthen industry readiness, deepen the tech talent, and also enable the GCCs to become true centers of innovation and product ownership. And with that, we wrap up this highly insightful session on building a globally competitive tech workforce through GCCs. Thank you once again, Navneet, for your time and valuable perspectives. It was really an absolute pleasure hosting you and hearing from your expertise.
Thank you, Kushi, and thanks everyone who could join the call. Bye-bye.
A heartfelt thanks as well to all our wonderful participants for your engagement and thoughtful questions, which made today's session a great success. The session has been recorded and the recording will soon be available on techgig.com. Thank you everyone for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again in our upcoming sessions.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Navneet. Take care. Bye-bye.